like we like this client, not unusual. Like this is not like, you know, this isn't like the easiest client ever. Like, you know, he was definitely resistant, and like what happens sometimes is folks will portray like a very workable client, and it actually makes demonstrating MI skills difficult, because we use MI skills with clients that are difficult, with clients that are resistant. If they're like come in and they're like, oh yeah, no, I need to do this thing. I know I do. It's just kind of hard, and I'm not exactly sure what to do, but you know, I sure need all the help I can get. You know, what do you think I should do? Well, okay, you know, pull out your CBT manual and go to work, okay? But you know, you got to have somebody with some ambivalence, and he's definitely got some ambivalence. Okay, so it was a very good client for us to practice on. Okay, now because he was resistant to change, okay, but he wasn't resistant to the process. Like, he was pretty easygoing guy, pretty easy to work with, right? Okay, what did you all observe?
Lots of reflection.
Okay, lots of reflections. Okay, summaries.
He was very open. He was honest about what
he was. If we could work with this guy, wouldn't you just work with this guy full time, all the time? Wouldn't you just all your clients? Wouldn't you love to work? I mean, he's got such, you know, the good reasons to change. He loves his family. He's got such good strengths. He's so likable.
But at the same time, I would be worried about him of suicide.
Okay, all right. So you see the depression as being serious enough. Maybe this guy, because he's presented, because that ambivalence is so strong, he's giving up something that's so hard to give up, and yet the pressure to do so is so strong. Maybe this guy, you know, yeah, okay. Good. Other observations? Okay. So, yes. Good. So, did you hear change talk? And I didn't have it. You have a tracking sheet that has it's darn C on it, okay? Desirability, reasons of need, and then commitment. And I didn't ask you to pull that out and keep a track of his language, okay? But that's something we will do. Right now, I just wanted to give kind of a general, you know, we'll kind of get a feel for things, and then we'll get more specific with regards to tracking skills and client behaviors. But, so when you look at that, did you hear desirability, reasons and need to change in this interview?
Some need, not necessarily need to keep it quiet.
Okay, so some need, and then, okay, worry. What is he worried about? His family. Okay, the fact that his family has made this ultimatum. Okay, he's not convinced of anything necessarily. Okay, at least that's what he's presenting so far, in the very beginning at least. His only concern is his family.
The good thing, he's not being in trouble, he said. He never wants to, you know, say he's not overspending, you know, so it's like normal drinking to him.
Right. And at first, and we call that's the sustain talk side. In fact, he not only isn't telling me a lot of desirability reasons that need to change, he's telling me that there are not really any good reasons to make the change, right? So he's saying that in fact there's evidence to suggest that he doesn't have a problem, that he can do it all. He can drink, and he can maintain a family, be very successful in his job. What's the problem, right? So he's got a lot of that, and most of that, like, I'll recognize as much of that as I have to in order to keep him engaged. As much as possible, I'm going to let it go. I'm not even. That's fine. You tell me that's fine, and I'm listening, and I heard you. And if you need me to repeat it back to you, I will. But I'm letting that go. Sustain talk. Okay, so everybody's told you.
I'm surprised that he did not talk about intimacy with his wife. Do you think maybe that's a lot to do with it? You know.
Well, I mean, you know, first few minutes, I don't know if he's necessarily going to, you know, but you're, you know, I mean. Yeah, I mean, you know. So what happened though is that, so at first we had very little. The only problem with his drinking is that his family has a problem with it. And in fact, they've taken this hard stance on it. That's it. Okay? Okay, so that's what we've got. And I reflect with that. I recognize that. I'm identifying strengths, little strengths associated, trying to express some empathy. Okay? Once we get a little rapport going, I demonstrate to him, like, I get it. Like, I understand what you're saying. Okay, it makes sense. Okay, you're not crazy. All right. What happened? What happened about halfway through?
Well, before he disclosed, you asked him if he could have any understanding of
where they're coming from. Where they're coming from. Now, I suspect if I would have asked him from the very beginning, he comes and sits down. I'm here because my family made me come. And I go. Well, why do they want you to come? Well, they think I have a problem. Whatever. She's saying, and I very early on, I go. Well, you kind of see where they're coming from. I mean, don't you understand what their concern is? Like, your wife told me that you've had DUIs. And that you've had, and you were blacking out, and that you've been hospitalized on a number of occasions. And I mean, don't you kind of? I mean, come on, right?
And if you would have done that,
yeah,
I'd have been out the door.
Exactly. So nice, workable guy, right? Until you cross him, until you make a mistake, and then he's out the door. And that's a lot of our clients too.
Yeah, I know this guy.
Yeah.
And so you handled him perfectly, as far as
Thank you very much.
Because if you would have done anything confrontational, trust me.
Yeah,
you picked up on his key motivation, which was, I'm successful and respected.
Right.
And you were like, whoa! And as soon as you honed in on that, and you acknowledged what I was saying, that I am successful, and I've worked really hard, and I'm a hard worker. You repeated that several times.
Right.
You're a hard worker. And I was like, he gets me. And once then, he had permission then to ask me a question that I never told anyone else. And that when I did that check with him about what was really some other consequences to the drinking that I would never admit to anyone it's really affecting me.
Right.
So seriously, I may have come off as easy, but this guy is not easy.
I mean, we see that I appreciate that. Yeah. So you can see how and I think a lot of our clients are this way. I mean, they can be real likable, easygoing people, but we've got to recognize. And it's almost universal. A lot of these things. I mean, some people emphasize some things more than others. Like some people. Like, you ever hear of those, those little studies they do on, psychics? And they've done these studies where a psychic will write, a statement on a card and pass it out to, a group. Like, everybody here gets a statement, right? And you don't know what other people have on their cards, but you know what's written on your card. And your card says, you've got a tremendous amount of untapped potential. You are driven in ways that people don't understand. You are creative. You are a lover and a fighter. Right? Okay? When it comes down to it, you would kill to protect those who you love. Right? And you're reading this and you're going, oh, this is me. And they say, okay, rate yourself. How well does this describe who you are? Really you. Overwhelmingly, people will give that a high rating. Oh, 9 out of 10. Man, that is me. What'd you get on yours? Same thing, right? Okay, there are universal things that we identify with, okay, that we feel to be, that we feel like really speak to us. Integrity. Nobody likes to be called a liar. And I don't care how big of a liar you are, okay? You don't like to be called a liar, okay? And the fact is, most of us really work hard to tell the truth. And that's how some of this language stuff comes out too, this desirability, reasons, and need. And people will work hard to be truthful with you. And that's what it comes down to with this being able to predict their behavior. Basically, we have what we call these sincerity conditions where this person, as long as I have made those parameters clear, and there's no negative consequence, he can tell me, and I'm not going to go tell his wife. Okay, he can be honest with me, and there's not going to be a negative consequence. So why not be honest? Okay, but if you feel like I'm going to judge you, or you feel like there's going to be some consequence, well, yeah, now you're probably still not going to lie to me. You're probably just not going to tell me. Okay, and that's generally what we find. So, all right. So, well, thank you very much, Lynn. That was excellent. And we'll talk about your cut.
Can I give an example with a gentleman who did 58 state psychiatric hospitalization lifetime, and 100 ER visits at least minimum a month?
Sure. Bring him on. So do we have somebody now? Psychosis? Is this?
I have no idea what they do.
All right. I'll tell you what. Let's bring him on. 11
people here.
Let's do it. And I know you were specifically asking. You said, Can we please do somebody that's not substance abuse?
Yes, can I-
And then we had Glenn do it, but
Can I do
that was awesome. No, that was awesome. That was great.
That's great.
But he happened to have this training, but back in 2002, you're in a unique position where you've been through this training specifically for substance abuse. So that was excellent. So thank you very much, Glenn. Really appreciate that.
And I mean, seriously,
That was excellent. That was absolutely excellent. So let's bring on somebody else. Let's do something a little bit differently. Now this time I'm going to ask you to go ahead and we just kind of observe generally what was going on, right? Anybody see anything that was of concern? Just other questions about what happened with this role play here. Okay, no, we're good. I didn't get the consent sign before I videoed him. That's true. That's true.
no, but there's a registration form.
Let's pass that back to us. Good call. We'll take care of that now.
Taking that consent form.
I think I'd have a hard time convincing you that we didn't rehearse that. That went pretty well. I guess we'll never know. We'll never know. I don't think we could have. I don't think we could have planned that out to go that well, actually. Okay. So we'll see if I've got any other Confederates in the audience here. I suspect this will be different. This will be a different interview. And so we'll go ahead.
Trust me, that will be different.
Okay, and again, all I ask is that you have an understanding of this person and that you portray them much as
11 more people do.
Now this is somebody you